We have major news. Mike Johnson has lost control of the House of Representatives and his Republican caucus as fractures are emerging within the Republican caucus on Capitol Hill, more so than we've ever seen over the past 9 or 10 months. And as a result, not only is Mike Johnson risking potentially losing his speakership before next year's midterm elections, but even before then, he doesn't have control over a caucus that now is seemingly ready to defy him at every turn. And at the same time, on the Senate side, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, well, he has some pushback as well, as some Senate Democrats are working to try to remove the old guard within the party. A major news update this morning. So make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to support my work and to spread the word. So Mike Johnson, according to Politico, well, right now, not good, because over the past several months and moving forward, Republicans have been plotting to figure out ways to override Mike Johnson. And the way they're doing it is through the discharge petition. On the Louisiana Republicans' watch, the discharge petition has caught fire. Rank and file lawmakers have managed 5 times since Johnson won his gavel 2 years ago to circumvent Johnson's wishes by getting the 218 signatures needed to force votes on legislation Johnson had blocked. That's more than in the prior 30 years combined. And most recently, we had the discharge petition regarding the Epstein file that successfully passed the House of Representatives despite Mike Johnson's extreme opposition to getting that bill to the floor of the House. Quote, they try to say that discharge petitions are a tool of the minority, but that's actually only the perspective of people that want to consolidate power within leadership. Anna Paulina Luna, a Republican congresswoman from Florida, says that she would protect the maneuver with every bone in her body as Mike Johnson is trying to figure out ways to stop his own party from rebuking him at every turn. Greg Steube has talked about the extreme toxic political environment within the Republican caucus in the House of Representatives right now. Quote, I would encourage you to ask Mike Johnson why he repeatedly refused to bring my bill to the floor. Steube is bitter about how Johnson hindered his passage last year of legislation to provide tax relief to disaster survivors, even though the measure was unanimously approved in the committee. And once Steube got the signatures on the discharge petition needed to force a floor action, it passed 382 to 7 and was eventually signed into law by President Biden. And that Thomas Massie is now saying members of both parties are actively brainstorming other bills that they can try to get to the floor. Quote, it's the fuse in the fuse box when everything gets jammed up and the wires get crossed and nothing can get done. In discouraging Republicans from signing on to discharge petitions, House Republican leadership argues that the tactic undermines the party in power and circumvents Congress's regular order system of debate, where legislation is essentially meant to advance through committees with special expertise. Folks, here's the deal. Under Nancy Pelosi, this never happened. Why? Because she had her caucus in check. Well, Mike Johnson is infuriating a lot of Republicans on Capitol Hill for essentially allowing or failing to allow certain pieces of legislation to go to the floor of the House of Representatives, bipartisan pieces of legislation at that. And that's a significant development, because now you have a speaker who does not have control over his own caucus in the House of Representatives. And as Jake Sherman in Punchbowl News said yesterday, we could see the speaker's gavel being switched to the Democratic Party because of the toxic environment within House Republicans right now, forcing more resignations before the end of the year or before the midterms next year. And well, as a result, you might see a Speaker Hakeem Jeffries a lot sooner than many had expected. But it's not just in the House, and it's not just in the Republican Party. According to the New York Times, Senators Van Hollen, Smith, Murphy, Sanders, Warren, Markey, Merkley, and Heinrich have created an official internal fight club. And they're challenging Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand's leadership, arguing that they're using an old corporate-friendly playbook. So we're seeing this kind of rise up in the United States Senate as well among Senate Democrats who are saying that they are tired of the rank and file members kind of doing the same old in the United States Senate and not actually getting anything done in the process and kind of caving to the White House, even on bills like the government shutdown. And here's the thing. If I had to predict, I don't think Chuck Schumer is going to run for reelection. I don't think he's planning on it. He may want to, but I don't think he's planning on it. And so you're going to get a situation now where you have a struggle within the Democratic Party in the Senate to see who replaces Schumer. And this fight club, I guarantee you the next Democratic leader is going to come out of it. If I had to guess, it could be someone like Chris Murphy, Van Hollen. I don't know if Sanders, Warren, or Markey want it. They all have publicly kind of said they don't really want it. So we'll see what happens, but change is on the horizon for both parties. But if one party, if I was concerned, I'd be concerned for Republicans because they could lose the speaker's gavel. And if they do that, Trump's term is cut in half. Now, meanwhile, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, is going after Mark Kelly today, saying, quote, so, quote, Captain Kelly, not only did your sedition video intentionally undercut good order and discipline, but you can't even display your uniform correctly. Your medals are out of order and rows reversed. When/if you are recalled to active duty, it'll start with the uniform inspection. So Pete Hegseth is essentially playing cop on Twitter, suggesting that Mark Kelly will be court-martialed, will be called to active duty again. And well, Caroline Leavitt at the same time is trying to gaslight the American public, saying, you know what? President Trump has never given an illegal order.
We're leaning into that experience to try and give a wink and a nod to the 1.3 million active duty service members who serve in our United States Armed Forces and essentially encourage them to defy the orders of their commander-in-chief, which is illegal, by the way. Let me be very clear. Not a single order this president or administration has given to our military has ever been illegal, nor will it ever be. This administration respects and abides by the law, and these
But here's the thing. We have multiple reports that senior government lawyers have said that what the administration is ordering officials to do is likely illegal, would be tantamount to extrajudicial killings, and much more. And the administration has just simply sidelined them. And for some holiday cheer, stop wearing pajamas. I know that's a really rough jump cut right there. That's what Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, wants you to know as you're traveling for the holidays. Time to stop wearing pajamas on planes.
We've seen an uptick in maybe a degradation in civility in the airspace, and so I thought it is appropriate to, again, you can't legislate that, right? You can't mandate it, but I think if you ask people, could we do better? Could we be better? I think you won't get a better result unless you make the ask, and so I'm just making the ask. Let's all travel better together. And again, I think it honors our country, it honors our families, it honors our fellow passengers. And so I've made the ask, and I think we can do a better job. And by the way, most flights are pretty darn good, and people do behave really well with one another. It's just a few of those times where, again,
dress a little better, no pajamas. That's Sean Duffy's message this holiday season. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon for another update.